Everyone laughed when the head chef pointed at the janitor and said, "Let's do this for fun." But by the end of that night, the laughter died in their throats, the room fell silent, and one man's quiet dignity changed everything. Before we begin, if stories about humanity, humility, and unexpected justice move your heart, like this video and subscribe to True Kindness Tales. Your support helps us bring more real, powerful stories like this to life. The restaurant was famous for its gleaming floors, celebrity guests, and a head chef whose ego was as polished as the silverware. People came for the food, but they stayed for the spectacle, his loud voice, his sharp tongue, and his reputation for humiliating anyone beneath him. Every evening, while cameras flashed and critics whispered, a man named Daniel quietly pushed his mop across the marble floor. Daniel was the janitor, a single father of two, and invisible to almost everyone. He worked double shifts because his wife had passed away 2 years earlier, leaving him with grief, debt, and 2 children who depended on him for everything. His uniform was faded, his shoes worn thin, but his eyes carried a calm strength that came from surviving nights of exhaustion and mornings of responsibility. The head chef noticed him one night when Daniel politely reminded him that a spill near the kitchen entrance was a slipping hazard. The chef scoffed, mocked his accent, and made a joke loud enough for the entire staff to hear. Laughter rippled through the kitchen. Emboldened by the attention, the chef challenged Daniel to a cooking contest during the restaurant's charity event, calling it, just for fun, a way to entertain donors. The idea spread fast. Staff whispered, guests leaned in, and Daniel stood frozen, humiliated. He tried to decline, explaining he had never trained as a chef, but the chef wouldn't let go. "What's the harm?" he said, smirking. "Unless you're scared." The crowd waited. Daniel thought of his children sleeping at home, the extra hours he needed, the quiet promise he made to always set an example. He nodded, not in pride, but in resolve. What no one knew was that Daniel's late wife had been a cook, and together they had shared countless nights experimenting with recipes to save money and dream of a food truck they never got to open. As the challenge was announced, laughter followed Daniel down the hallway, but inside him, a steady calm grew. He wasn't there to prove anything to them. He was there to honor something deeper. The night of the event arrived with chandeliers glowing and donors dressed in silken suits. The head chef took center stage, cracking jokes, boasting about awards, while Daniel stood to the side in borrowed whites that didn't quite fit. Cameras rolled, expecting comedy. The challenge was simple. Each would create a dish from the same ingredients within an hour. The chef worked theatrically, tossing pans, calling orders, making sure every movement was seen. Daniel moved quietly, methodically, treating each ingredient with care. He remembered his wife's laugh when a sauce finally balanced, the way she taught him patience in cooking and in life. He cooked not to impress, but to express gratitude, for survival, for love, for the chance to feed others. As the hour ended, plates were presented. The chef's dish was flawless, technically perfect, plated like art. Daniel's was simple, rustic, and aromatic. When the first judge tasted Daniel's dish, their expression changed. Silence spread. One by one, judges nodded, some wiping their eyes, describing flavors that felt like home, like memory, like warmth after loss. The room grew still. The head chef's smile faded. The final verdict was announced. Daniel's dish had won. Gasps filled the hall. The chef tried to laugh it off, but the applause that followed Daniel was real and thunderous. Then something unexpected happened. Daniel stepped forward, thanked the judges, and dedicated the dish to his late wife, explaining he was a janitor, a father, and someone who believed food was love made visible. The audience stood. Some cried. The chef stood frozen, exposed not for losing, but for mocking kindness. In that moment, Daniel didn't gloat. He simply bowed his head and returned to his place, dignity intact. After the applause faded, the restaurant felt different. Staff who once laughed now looked at Daniel with respect. Guests approached him, not for autographs, but to shake his hand. The head chef later found Daniel in the hallway, struggling to apologize. Daniel listened, nodded, and forgave him, not because the chef deserved it, but because bitterness was too heavy to carry home to his children. Word of the event spread online, not as a joke, but as a lesson. A local investor offered Daniel support to open a small cafe, honoring his wife's dream. Daniel accepted carefully, ensuring his job remained stable until he could provide for his family. Months later, the cafe opened, modest and warm, with photos of family on the walls and food that tasted like care. The head chef visited one afternoon, quietly, without cameras. He ordered the winning dish and ate in silence. When he left, he tipped generously and thanked Daniel for reminding him what greatness really meant. Daniel watched him go, then turned back to the kitchen, smiling softly. Kindness had not only stunned everyone, it had transformed them. And that is the quiet power of humility. It doesn't shout, it doesn't mock, it simply endures and wins hearts. If this story touched you, please like this video and subscribe to True Kindness Tales. Your support helps us continue sharing stories that remind the world that kindness, even when mocked, always has the final word.